Hey everyone and welcome. We're so glad you're here with us today. Today, we're talking about something super important, Africa's economy and its future. This is a topic that affects millions of lives and has global implications. Africa is at a really important point right now. It's a continent rich in resources and culture, but also facing significant challenges. It needs to figure out how to grow its economy without polluting the environment. This is a delicate balance that requires innovative solutions and strong leadership. But here's the thing, we can't talk about Africa's future without talking about its past. The history of colonialism has left deep scars that still affect the continent today. A long time ago, powerful countries controlled Africa and took its resources. This is called colonialism. These countries exploited Africa's wealth, leaving behind a legacy of economic and social challenges. And even though colonialism is over, its effects are still felt today. The infrastructure, the economic systems, and even the social structures were all influenced by this period. So, in this video we're going to talk about how fixing those past wrongs is key to a healthy and strong future for Africa. Addressing these historical injustices is crucial for sustainable development. For many years, Africa has been stuck in a tough spot. The continent has faced numerous economic challenges, from high debt levels to inadequate infrastructure. Other countries take its resources, it owes a lot of money, and its economy isn't very strong. This exploitation has made it difficult for Africa to build a robust and self-sufficient economy. This makes it hard for Africa to deal with things like climate change and getting important resources. The continent is particularly vulnerable to environmental changes, which can exacerbate existing problems. So, while it's important to clean up the environment, it's also important to fix the unfair system that's holding Africa back. This means advocating for fair trade, debt relief, and equitable resource distribution. To really clean up its environment, Africa needs to take control of its own economy. Empowering local communities and fostering innovation are key steps in this process. This means taking charge of important things like food and energy, growing in a sustainable way, and making sure other countries take responsibility too. By investing in renewable energy and sustainable agriculture, Africa can pave the way for a greener future. By fixing the past wrongs, Africa can build a fair and healthy future for everyone. This journey requires collective effort, resilience, and a vision for a better tomorrow. Let's talk more about how colonialism still affects Africa today. The legacy of colonialism is deeply ingrained in the continent's socio-economic fabric, influencing various aspects of life and development. Even though it officially ended a while ago, the remnants of colonial rule are still visible. These old structures stand as a testament to a time when Africa's resources were exploited for the benefit of foreign powers. It's like a shadow hanging over Africa's economy, a constant reminder of the past that continues to influence the present. The economic systems put in place during colonial times were designed to benefit the colonizers, and many of these systems are still in place today. The old system of taking Africa's resources is still in place, which makes it hard for Africa to grow. Large-scale mining operations and deforestation are just a few examples of how natural resources are extracted and exported, often with little benefit to local communities. Many African countries mostly sell raw materials like oil, minerals, and crops. These raw materials are often sold at low prices, and the profits are minimal compared to the value of finished products. They don't make much money from these resources because they don't turn them into finished products. The lack of industrialization means that the added value of processing these materials is lost to other countries. This makes African economies weak because the prices of these raw materials go up and down a lot. The volatility of global markets means that African countries often face economic instability, making it difficult to plan for long-term growth. It's hard to plan for the future when you don't know how much money you'll have. This uncertainty affects not just governments, but also ordinary people, from farmers to small business owners, who struggle to make ends meet. This also means they can't invest in things like education and renewable energy. Without stable income, it's challenging to fund projects that could lead to sustainable development and improve the quality of life for future generations. On top of that, many African countries owe a lot of money to other countries and banks. This debt burden limits their ability to invest in critical infrastructure and social services. This debt makes it even harder to invest in important things like schools, hospitals, and clean energy. The lack of investment in these areas perpetuates a cycle of poverty and underdevelopment. It's like trying to run a race with a heavy backpack on. The weight of history, economic challenges, and debt makes progress slow and arduous, but the resilience and determination of the African people continue to drive them forward. Fixing the problems caused by colonialism isn't just about making things right. It's about giving African countries the power to control their own economies. This means getting rid of the old system of taking resources and building a new one that's fair for everyone. This means taking charge of important areas like food, energy, and manufacturing. Food sovereignty means growing enough food to feed everyone in Africa. Energy sovereignty means using Africa's own clean energy sources like solar and wind power. And industrial sovereignty means making things in Africa instead of just selling raw materials. This creates jobs and helps the economy grow stronger. This requires investing in education and technology so people have the skills to build a brighter future. Let's focus on food, a fundamental need for every human being. It's really important for Africa to be able to feed itself, ensuring food security for its growing population. For too long, Africa has had to buy food from other countries, even though it has lots of good farmland. This reliance on imports makes the continent vulnerable to global market fluctuations. This makes it hard when food prices go up or there are problems with getting food from other places. The impact is felt most by the poorest communities, who struggle to afford basic necessities. Africa needs to grow its own food. By cultivating its own resources, the continent can become self-sufficient and resilient. This means helping the farmers who grow most of the food. They are the backbone of the agricultural sector and need our support. They need things like loans, secure land, and training on how to farm in a way that's good for the environment. Access to modern farming techniques can significantly boost productivity. It also means using farming methods that are good for the soil and don't use too much water. Sustainable practices ensure that the land remains fertile for future generations, and it means building places to store and process food so it doesn't go bad. Proper storage facilities can reduce post-harvest losses and ensure a steady food supply. If Africa can grow its own food, it will be much stronger and healthier. A self-sufficient Africa means a brighter future for its people, with better nutrition and economic stability. Now let's talk about energy. Africa has lots of sun, wind, and other natural resources that can be used to make clean energy. But right now, Africa still uses a lot of oil and gas, and sometimes has to buy it from other countries. This is expensive and bad for the environment. Africa needs to use its own clean energy. This means building things like solar panels and wind turbines. It also means using energy more efficiently so we don't waste it. If Africa can make its own clean energy, it will be cheaper, cleaner, and better for everyone. It's important to remember that Africa can't do this alone. Richer countries who have polluted the environment the most need to help. They need to keep their promises to help poorer countries clean up their economies. This means giving money, not loans, so African countries don't end up owing even more money. It also means making sure trade is fair. African countries shouldn't just sell raw materials, they should be able to make finished products too. This will help them make more money and grow their economies. So, to wrap things up, fixing the problems caused by colonialism is all about building a better future for Africa. By taking charge of its own economy, Africa can create a cleaner environment and a more prosperous future for its people. This means moving away from just selling raw materials and towards making finished products. It means growing its own food and making its own clean energy. This is a big job, and it will take everyone working together, both in Africa and around the world. African leaders need to make smart decisions, and richer countries need to help. If we all work together, we can build a thriving Africa that's good for everyone.